Chapter 4. Who to Invite. Your first party should feel easy to host. Start by inviting close friends, colleagues, and neighbors. My first party. I moved to New York City just shy of my 26th birthday. That became my excuse to muster up the courage and host my first ever New York City party. I didn't drink alcohol at the time, so I knew I didn't want to celebrate my birthday at a bar. I wanted to do something different. After checking with my roommates, I threw my birthday party at our shared apartment in Brooklyn, reserving the kitchen area as a party space. I started by inviting my friends from college because I assumed they'd come. I messaged a few of them first to check their availability for the proposed date and time of my party. Once I had confirmations from 5 of them, I had a lot more confidence. I knew that at least those 5 people would be there. Next, I began inviting more people, including neighbors and friends of friends. I followed the blog of a woman named Mallory Blair and thought she was a great writer. We'd traded messages for a while online. Since I knew my core group of college friends were already coming to the party, I could confidently say, "My friends and I are getting together on December 8th for my birthday. Do you want to come?" Mallory was happy to receive an invitation and came to the party. She also had a lot of fun and connected well with my friends. But since we were only passing acquaintances, I never would have had the confidence to ask Mallory to hang out one-on-one. Today, Mallory is a highly successful business owner with her own PR agency in New York City and Los Angeles. I count her as one of my best friends. We even became roommates for a few years. She hired me and my company to run 2 team-building events for her agency. All of that would never have happened had I not first confirmed my close friends and then had the courage to invite Mallory to my party. Your core group. At my first party, my friends from college formed what I call a core group. Anytime you host an event, always invite your core group first. These are your reliable and supportive friends and colleagues. They already know and like you. You can ask them for a favor or invite them to something without overthinking it. Because you already have a relationship, they're likely to say yes to your invitation. Your core group will be an essential piece of your party puzzle. They'll show up and make you look good. They'll laugh at your jokes and be your party cheerleaders. They're people with whom you feel comfortable. They're also your support team and safety net. In the next chapter, you'll see the exact words to use when inviting your core group. You'll first check whether they are available for your party. If they are, you'll ask them to confirm that they would like to come. Inviting your core group first is a way to stack the deck for a successful party. Their RSVPs will build your confidence as a host to know that good people are coming. Then you will start inviting more people to your party. Here's an illustration with a hand holding a deck of cards like the Guess Who game. The illustration says, "Stack the deck for your party by inviting your core group first." After you get 5 confirmations from people in your core group, you can begin to cast a wider net of party attendees, like other work colleagues and friends. I use the term great guests to refer to everyone you invite after your core group. It sounds better than non-core guests or other people I work with. This name represents who these people are to you, guests who it would be great to have at your party. Creating a core group when you don't have one. If you just moved to a new city or if you haven't been very sociable in the past, don't worry. Making friends and building a core group can be easier than you think. Richard Garand in Calgary, Canada, posted notes around his apartment complex inviting all his neighbors to his first party. It's not a core group in the traditional sense, but it still got him enough RSVPs to have the confidence to invite more people to his first gathering. Try these ideas to create a core group when you don't have one. Join a local club for something you're interested in, like volleyball, poker, or Toastmasters. Look up event calendars on local media or Facebook groups to find interesting things to attend. Volunteer with a charity or religious organization. Attend meetups. Find them at www.meetup.com. Especially for people who are new in town or looking to make friends. Here are some more suggestions from people who read early drafts of this book. Look at organizations for expats like Internations. They have groups in over 400 cities. I find expats can be more open to connecting. Unlike locals, they don't have established networks and might have just moved to a city. Judajit Day. I have invited a few very distant relatives that live in town to parties. For example, my mother-in-law's cousin's daughter. She's someone I met once at a big family event, seemed cool, and it turned out we could be friends in addition to extremely distant in-laws. From Alex Gates. For women looking to meet new friends, try the Bumble app and use the Bumble BFF setting. It's a great way to connect. I met a number of new people using it and invited them to my parties. From Gina Stanley. Join a recreational sports league in your area. I play on soccer teams and have made many friends over the years. My own party pro tip: to maximize the opportunity of meeting people, play kickball because that sport has the largest teams. From Seth Haynes. Reach out to people from your yoga, boxing, or gym classes. Invite the coaches and instructors too. From Rui Zhang. How many people to invite? For your first party, aim for 15 confirmed guests. I found that 15 people at a cocktail party gives the best balance. With fewer people, like 7 or 8, you're more likely to get trapped in a single group conversation or have an uncomfortable silence in the room. The connections will be less free-flowing and the room will lack energy. Any no-shows will hit you hard. On the other hand, if you have too many guests, say 30, managing the logistics becomes a big challenge. There's a lot of energy with a lot of people, but your party can descend into carnage. You might wake up in a pile of smelly wine bottles with rotten pizza crusts on the floor and a court summons for local noise violations. It happens to the best of us. After your first few parties, you can experiment with hosting more or less than 15 people. See how you enjoy the experience and adapt this formula later to fit your style. Invite more than you need. Over-inviting is a natural part of party planning. If you want 15 people to come to your party, you'll need to invite 20 to 30 people total. It's unlikely that everyone will say yes. That's normal. Is it because they don't like you? Maybe, but probably not. Try to remember, people have a lot going on in their lives. I still frequently experience the feeling of rejection when guests turn down my invitations. Try not to take it personally when this happens. And besides, when have you ever liked someone less because they invited you to a party? Ask the party professional. Question: what if only 3 people show up and my party is terribly boring? Answer: this is a common fear for new hosts. It may have even happened to you in the past, but fear not. When you give yourself a long runway, secure your core group first, and use the framework from this book, you'll have plenty of time to build up your guest list, generate excitement, and then guarantee attendance for a fun party that almost everyone shows up for. If you're someone who likes being over-prepared and you're still worried about what will happen if only a few people show up to your party, just have a board or card game on hand. Pick one that you like and that is easy to learn. I like the card games Set and Monopoly Deal. For a list of other games that work well at parties, see www.party.pro/games. Who to invite your first party. It's fine to have a seemingly random group of connections at your party. In fact, it's what will make your event special and allow your guests to meet new and interesting people. The common thread is that everyone knows you. There's an illustration here that shows a circle with a mix of smiley faces and hearts that represent great guests, about 10 people, and core group, about 5 people. They're the hearts. The caption of the graphic says, your first party should have 15 attendees. It will be a mix of different people you know, including great guests and your core group. Follow these guidelines for picking who to invite to your first party. Do. Invite friends, neighbors, classmates, colleagues, and their significant others. Don't. Invite important new relationships or critical work contacts. Don't invite VIPs yet. Some people become so excited to host their first party that they rush to send invitations. They reach out to everyone they'd like to have at their party, including big business contacts and new romantic interests. It's great that you're excited to show off your new hosting skills. You should be. But pace yourself. Don't start your hosting journey by inviting people who intimidate you or who you badly want to impress. Focus your guest list now on friends and colleagues. When your first party is a low-stakes affair, you'll avoid the stress of trying to impress VIP guests. Invite them later after this first practice party. Who to invite second and third parties. When you create your guest list for your second and third parties, then you can stretch yourself and cast a wider net of guests. Invite the same people from your first party, plus a few more people you don't know as well or haven't seen in a while. This includes the following: friends of friends, former colleagues and classmates, colleagues in other departments, sales professionals or service staff at your favorite local spots. You can also invite new people you meet. Liz Schwartzbach, a pharmacologist and business executive in Manhattan, says that her metric for whether to invite someone to an event is this: when I meet someone new, I ask myself, do I want to continue the conversation or see them again? If the answer is yes, then they would make a great guest for one of my parties. Be mindful of keeping a genuine interest in your guest list. You're not trying to use and abuse your old and new friends in a self-serving manner. This is what gives networking a bad name. Do invite new acquaintances who you would be excited to see again or continue a conversation with. Don't purely build a guest list based on who can I benefit from right now. There's an illustration that says wild card, new person. It's got a drawing of a woman named Amelia, and it says her job is a florist with the question, do I want to talk to her again? And then the word yes is checked. The caption says, every new person you meet becomes a potential party invitation. How to grow your guest list. If you're eager to grow your guest list, here are some things to try. Invite everyone you might want to see again. Follow Liz's advice. Invite anyone you meet that you might like to talk to again. Your guest list will naturally grow. It doesn't have to be some big, grand invitation. If you meet someone neat at work or in the grocery store, just mention you're having a party soon and ask if you can invite them. If they say yes, take their contact details. If they say no, what's the harm? Either take their details and invite them to your next party or continue on with your day. Think about the people you regularly interact with in town. This could be your barista or your workout instructor or the service staff at your favorite restaurant. Give them an invite. Log on to Facebook, LinkedIn, or another social network you use. Search for friends or colleagues who live in your city. We often forget about our loose connections and acquaintances we've already made through these networks. Send your core group members a personalized message asking them to bring a friend to your party. Give them at least 1 week's notice. For bonus points, provide them with a little script like this to make it easy to share. I'd like to ask a favor. Will you help me out and bring a friend or colleague to my party? You can send them this message. My friend Nick is hosting a cocktail party on Wednesday the 8th at 7 o'clock p.m. It will be fun. May I share your info with him to send you the information? Follow up a few days later to ask each person in your core group who they are going to bring. It is important to ask them to bring a friend, not just invite a friend. When you explicitly state that you want them to bring someone, it implies you want them to follow through. Make a list of super connectors in your town and invite 1 or 2. This could include real estate agents, salespeople, fundraising staff at a nonprofit, and recruiters. These folks have huge networks and are often receptive to invitations to meet new people. Party People in Action, Mary Beth Yale, literary consultant in Mexico City, Mexico. Nick, why did you decide to start hosting parties? Mary Beth, successfully hosting fun parties was a long-time goal of mine. I always imagined I'd be a sophisticated adult once I did it. I often meet new people, and it's a bit overwhelming to plan a coffee or one-on-one meal. Parties are a sustainable and fun way for me to get a lot of great people in one room. Nick, who do you invite to your parties? Mary Beth, I've hosted 2 parties so far. At the first, I invited a lot of my neighbors. For the second, I invited newcomers to the city. For example, I recently knocked somebody's drink over at a bar. He wouldn't let me buy him a new drink, so I invited him to my next cocktail party. Turns out he is an author, and we have a friend in common who lives in Italy. It was awesome to see my friends making connections and to be the one facilitating it. The advantage of a diverse guest list. As you become more comfortable as a host, reach out to people who are less like yourself. When I throw a party, I focus on adding occupational diversity to my guest list. I invite friends who work in banking, dancing, and education, in addition to those in museums, technology, and marketing. I like what Joan Crawford said in 1971 in her book My Way of Life about entertaining people at home. The best parties are a wild mixture. Take some corporation presidents, add a bearded painter, a professional jockey, your visiting friends from Brussels, a politician, a hairdresser, and a professor of physics. Toss them all together and try to get them to stop talking long enough to eat. It's especially important to have all age groups. I've never noticed any generation gap. All the younger people I know are bright and attractive and have something to say, and they dress like human beings. They love to listen, too. They make wonderful guests. The idea of having a diverse attendee list is timeless. Conversations at your party will be more unexpected and interesting. Tyler's story, New Town, New Core Group. Tyler Vosser is the father of 3 young kids, a vice president at an education software company, and an extremely successful party host. He's the guy I mentioned in the introduction. Before he moved from New York City to Little Rock, Arkansas, I sat down with him and explained my party formula. We talked about why he wanted to become a host. Tyler was moving to a new city where he didn't know anyone. He didn't yet have a core group of friends. His only contacts would be his wife's family, who had been born and raised there. He wanted to build his own network and land a great job. When Tyler arrived in Little Rock, he heard from friends back in New York about a woman named Erica, who had also moved to Arkansas and hosted parties in the area. Tyler reached out to her and asked if she wanted to co-host a small cocktail party with him. Not only did Erica say yes, but she invited a number of people she'd gotten to know while living in Little Rock. Tyler relied on Erica to bring in a core group of friends, and their first event together was a success. Even better, by partnering with her, Tyler began to develop his own core group. Since then, Tyler has gone on to meet dozens of new people through hosting his own parties. He even secured his executive job through someone he met at one of his events. The founder and a few other employees had been invited to his cocktail parties. When it was time to grow their people and culture team, they thought of Tyler. "There's a serendipity to these parties," Tyler told me. "I like seeing others make connections more than myself." I love Tyler's story because it's a perfect example of how someone can start hosting parties even without a strong base of connections. If you don't have a core group and you've tried everything listed in this chapter to build your own, make like Tyler and find yourself an Erica, someone who already has friends in the area that you could co-host with. Website link: see www.party.pro/co-host, COHOST, for my best practices in hosting with a partner. A note and tips for readers with kids. Little humans aren't intentionally excluded from my book, but the 2-hour cocktail party was written and tested at a time when I and most of my friends didn't have kids. Having children at a party often results in the divided attention of your guests. Kids can be a crutch for introverted adults to avoid grown-up interaction. Friends of mine who have kids and host parties recommend getting a sitter to help child wrangle. They also recommend throwing a parallel kid party in a separate area of the home. From Crystal Zern, getting a babysitter was a huge help. It's fun for the kids and fun for the parents to be able to give their full attention to their guests and the purpose of the event. From Caroline Rosh Alquist, if we don't have help, my husband and I will be distracted from our party. Without dedicated family or friend assistance, we have to take turns disengaging from our guests to prevent the death and dismemberment of our 2 active children. From Justin Evans, when we hosted a party for couples, my wife and I hired a babysitter for parents who couldn't get one themselves. The kids' space was completely separate from the party. Parents only went upstairs to check on their children once or twice throughout the night. It worked great for us because having a babysitter removed a huge barrier to entry for our friends to attend. When your kids get a little older, you may want to include them in your events. Have them welcome guests or help with snacks. Just make sure they have their own name tags. Chapter Checklist. Make a list of 5 to 10 people who can be in your core group. Start making a longer list of the great guests that you'll invite. Include neighbors, friends, classmates, and colleagues. You'll want 15 total people to come to your party, which means you might need to invite 20 to 30. Don't invite important new relationships or critical work contacts yet. Plan for your first party to be a practice run where the stakes are low.